coast of Shonai in Yamagata Prefecture. And today I'm going to show you about fishing in Japan, so fishing off the coast of Yamagata Prefecture. Anyways, before we start the fishing, I first want to explain to you a little bit more about what it's like to fish in Japan. Okay everyone, to talk more about fishing in Japan, we have three main categories here: easy, medium, and hard. So you can catch all sorts of types of fish off the coast of Yamagata here, and there's all sorts of types of fishing with all sorts of different types of methods. But to make it simple, we have three categories here. And so in the beginner or the easy category, we have horse mackerel, and whiting. So these are small fish, about maybe up to this size. They're pretty small fish, but they're easy to catch. You can catch them right from the port. You can catch them by going just off the beach by boat, and in 1 or 2 hours, you can have quite a big haul of these types of fish. And these fish are easy to catch, but they're also very delicious. You can make sushi out of them. You can grill them. You can fry them. So if you're looking for a very easy experience where you want to mainly focus on eating as opposed to the fishing part, the easy category will be good for you. It's also pretty good for kids because it's very easy to catch them. Next, for the medium category, this is my recommended category if you want to go for a more deeper experience, because you can catch inada, which are small yellowtail about up to this size. You can catch tai and amadai. These are two different types of sea bream that you can catch off the coast of Shonai here. There's Spanish mackerel that come out during the fall season. They're about this big. They're very delicious. And also you can catch squid. You can catch them in the daytime. You can also do night fishing and catch squid here. So for medium fishing, you probably will be out for 3 or 4 hours. It's about a half-day experience. But the good thing about this medium category is if you catch even one of these three types of fish, they're about this big, so you're going to have quite the haul of sashimi, and you can do quite a lot of cooking with these types of fish here. Also, for the easy and medium category, for people who have never fished before, these two are very accessible because you have your fishing guides, you have our guides like me on the boat as well, who can show you how to tie the knots. We'll prepare all your gear, all your rods, all your reels, everything for you. And so it's a very simple type of fishing. All you have to worry about is just basically winding up, and that's all you got to do. For our next category, our hard category, these are for game fish. So if you're more of a serious fisherman, we have buri, which are large yellowtail. These yellowtail off the coast of Shonai, they can grow basically as tall as I am. And bluefin tuna, this is one of the best places in Japan to catch bluefin tuna. Well, probably one of the best places in the world. And bluefin tuna, as you know, they can grow far larger than a person, and they can weigh thousands of pounds. But these are trophy fish, so there's a big chance that if you go out, you're going to have to go out all day long, and there's also a large chance that you won't be able to catch them. But if you do want to go for fish like this, then you probably already know that already. But if you're looking for a challenge, the hard category is for you. Anyways, today we're here during the fall season, and we're going for yellowtail. And so to go for yellowtail, we use metal jigs just like this. And the fishing for yellowtail is pretty simple. All you do is you release the bail and you drop it right in the ocean. And so we're waiting for the jig to fall to the very bottom of the ocean, and you'll know when it hits the bottom because it'll stop taking line. And once you hit the bottom, you close the bail and you just reel it up. It's really that simple. All the hard work is done by the fishing captain, who helps you tie the knots, help you prepare your gear, provides the rental gear, and then uses the radar and experiences to help find where the fish are. So when you come out to fish in Tsuruoka, all you gotta worry about is just catching fish. Anyways, I'm really hoping that we can catch some good yellowtail, because yellowtail during the fall season makes really good sashimi. And then we're gonna take it to a chef here in Tsuruoka. We're gonna actually go to a fishing guest house in a small fishing village called Yura, which is a really popular place to go fishing. And so what's great about that is it's a great place to lodge because it's right next to the docks. And then with the fish that you catch, the fish, you can actually prepare it with the fishing people there. And so you can have some really nice sashimi. So if we do manage to catch a yellowtail, that's what we're gonna do today. Alright, so earlier we were at a place with lots of different boats, and nobody was catching anything. The waves are bad, no one was catching anything. But thanks to our captain here, and that's one thing I want to emphasize, is that when you go fishing on fishing tours, the captain is by far the most important element when you go fishing. The weather is also very important, but the captain's the one who's going to be able to read the conditions, he's going to be able to see the circumstance, and he's going to be able to find the fish. So if you're watching earlier, they got radars here, and also just his natural sense, he's able to know from years and years of experience about where the fish are and where it seems like we're going to be able to catch fish. So right now, he's using the radar here, and we're going to find some fish. And so right now, we have a fish radar here. So if you look right here, you can see it's picking up schools of fish. And so the captain knows that when there's schools of fish, he knows there's going to be big fish swimming through them to eat some of these fish. So this is a good sign. Okay, we got our first fish here by the captain. This is probably a nice yellowtail right here. This is another good point. Oh, here it comes, here it comes. Okay, got our first fish here. A very nice yellowtail right here. Look at this. Ooh. All right. So this is gonna be a really good fish to make sashimi with. Let's go catch more.
腹見して腹。いいや先のやつね。そう。
All right. So we just got back to the port here, and it's kind of a crazy day of fishing. The winds were a bit strong, and we had some waves, so it was really hard to hold the camera and do fishing at the same time. But anyways, if you look here, we did manage to catch 2 yellowtail. Okay. They're very strong fish. This is all muscle, that's why they can do crazy stuff like that. And so I wasn't able to show us catching the fish, but these guys, they put up quite a fight. So if you're looking for a thrill, catching yellowtail is quite fun. Oh, let's see, look at this pier. It's about 4 kilograms of pure muscle, pure sashimi. Alright, so it's the day after we caught these delicious fish on the boat. Right now we're here at a guest house. It's actually a guest house here in Niura. It's called Honma. And we're here with Honma-san.
Hi.
And today with the fish that we caught, we're going to be cooking it together. And we're going to learn how to fillet it and cook it together with Honma-san. And right now I'll be preparing the fish with Honma-san. So one thing about this experience is that if you don't know how to cook and if you don't want to cook, Honma-san will be happy to cook all the fish for you and make some delicious dishes. But if you are interested in learning how to cook, the best part is that you can actually learn how to cook with the masters right here, which is what we're going to do right now. So first of all, we're going to start with filleting some of our fish. Ooh. Okay, so right now, Honma-san, she's gutting out the fish here. But I just want to explain a little bit more about the knives that we're using. So right here, these are deba hocho. And as you can see right here, they're very thick knives. They're very, very thick and wide knives. And they're meant to help break apart the bone and also help get the fillets out of the fish. So we saw earlier how Honma-san was just cutting straight through the head. I want to point out that I do a lot of fishing and I catch my own fish, but to take off the head that fast, that takes a lot of skill. For me, it takes 10 times longer at least.
こちらとこちらと。で、骨の間に包丁を入れて。
Yeah, so as you saw earlier, I'm taking probably 20 times longer and my cutting is very, very messy. But one thing I want to point out too is that when you're making sashimi from fish, having clean and precise cuts is extremely important for the flavor itself. So my fillet versus her fillet is going to taste totally different.
こっちの骨も持つと、骨を持って包丁を入れて、で両方こっちで、はい上手。
大丈夫ですか？
はい大丈夫です。ほら上手です。
So here's our fillet of yellowtail right here. So right now, from here, we're going to be taking the skin off of the fillets here. What's interesting to know is that for each different type of fish that we have, the preparation methods are different. For some types of fish, we can leave the skin on, but for yellowtail, it has a very tough skin. It doesn't have scales, but the skin is very tough. So in order to cook it, in order to make it the sashimi, we'll first have to remove the skin. Right here, we have the skin off. And then we have our fillet right here. With Honma-san together, Honma-san to ishini, we'll be cutting the fillets into sashimi. She earlier demonstrated some beautiful cutting techniques that I'll be trying to emulate.
But one more thing I want to introduce is that this knife right here, this is a Yanagi Hocho. So it's a very thin and long knife. And one thing I want to emphasize about Japanese knives is that in Japanese cuisine, in Japanese culinary arts, they have more knives than any other cuisine in the whole world. And for filleting fish, we saw that we used 3 different knives so far. But this Yanagi Hocho is quite special because I want to emphasize that it's very, very long. And the reason why it's so long, I'll show it to you right here. The reason why it's so long is that because when you cut fish, you want to have very clean cuts. You don't want to have jagged cuts because that actually damages the flavor and texture of the sashimi. And when it comes to sashimi in particular, the texture is just so important. So for sashimi cuts, ホモさん、刺身切るとき、だいたい
引っ張るだけですね。
そういう感じですか？
はい、引き切りですね。
So you see with the Yanagi Hocho, we start from the bottom here, and we hardly push down, we just pull. And this allows for very clean cuts for the sashimi. And you also notice that Japanese chef's knives, they're one-sided, so this side is actually flat. This helps provide that very clean cut that we're looking for. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so now with our beautiful yellowtail that we had, we now prepared it into a beautiful sashimi dish with Homa-san. So Homa-san was telling me earlier when we were cooking it that that warasa, that yellowtail, actually during the fall season in particular, it has a lot of fat inside of it, and that helps it give a lot of very rich aroma and flavor. I want to note that yellowtail can typically be caught in the spring and the fall, but in the springtime the yellowtail is much more lean. It doesn't have as much fat, so people definitely prefer to eat the yellowtail when it's caught in the fall, which is right now. Alright, so currently right now Homo-san, she's making some other dishes with the yellowtail that we caught, because the yellowtail is just so big that we could make an entire sashimi dish, and she can make a whole different dish on top of that. But I also like to cook, so while she's preparing her dish, I'll be preparing some Japanese sea bream. So actually, while I've lived here in Japan, I've had the good fortune of trying out these experiences many times. You know, mostly just with my friends. You know, we go catch fish on the boat, we go catch fish from the beach, then we go over to their house, and then I learn how to prepare with them. But if you don't know how to fillet fish and you want to learn how to cook fish, I think this would be your best chance to do so, because you could do so alongside some true experts just like Homa-san. And here's the finished dish that Homa-san has just made. It's right here. This is called namedo. And so it's a mix of the yellowtail, onions, miso, ginger, and it has such a good aroma. And I'm told that this goes very good with rice, and it goes very good just as is. And it smells delicious. And one more thing I want to note is that we have one sea bream that's being grilled right now, and this other one that we're going to make into sashimi. So if you do get a good catch of fish, one great thing about preparing fish here in places in Shonai is that you can prepare them in different ways. So the grilled sea bream and the sashimi sea bream will taste so different, and they both taste so delicious. And one additional thing that we're going to do is that you can remove the skin off the madai and cut it into sashimi. But one thing about the sashimi for sea bream, the skin of sea bream, is that you can actually eat it, and it actually has a whole lot of flavor. But right now the skin's a bit tough, but one way we can make it more firm and make it more tender is that we can use boiling water to kind of scald the skin, like really just kind of scald the skin just for a few seconds, and that's really going to help make the skin much more edible and much more tasty. So I'm holding it differently so you can see it, but right now we'll pour the scalding water just like this. So you can see here with the Thai that has been scalded, its texture has changed. It's kind of shrunk from the one that's not yet scalded yet, and it's much more tender. And so the skin is going to be so delicious. If you've never had sashimi prepared in this way, I really recommend trying yubiki, sashimi prepared as yubiki. And then next we put it into ice water, and this is to stop the cooking process. So with the help of Homa-san, here's the sea bream dish that I've made. This is yubiki sashimi. So as you can see, the skin has been scalded, and this is going to be so delicious. Japanese sea bream sashimi. I actually like it more than maguro tuna, so I definitely recommend trying this when you're here. And here's the dish that Homa-san made. This is horse mackerel.
味の息づくりです。
Ikizukuri.
息づくりです。
This is aji horse mackerel ikizukuri.
はい。
So aji horse mackerel also has such a delicious flavor. Alright, so right here, smell this one. Okay, so Mr. Homa just spent all the time grilling the fish, and I dumped it on the ground. But they were very nice about it. We're all having a very good laugh about it. So that's one more thing I'm obliged to point out, is that the Homa family who runs the Homa guest house, they are very, very kind people, and even if you do something incredibly stupid like dump their fish on the ground, they will have a good laugh about it. Anyways, what I was trying to do was I was trying to explain that these are the same fish. They're both Japanese sea bream. We prepared this one as sashimi, and this one was beautifully prepared by Mr. Homa it was grilled as it was, with just with a bit of salt. And the aroma, the smell is just filling this whole kitchen. This thing smells so, so good. I'm still gonna eat this. So here's the dishes that we've made today. We have our yellowtail sea bream, and all our horse mackerel, our Japanese sea bream, the yellowtail here, and this is going to be quite a feast. So now we're going to take this into the dining room. And now it's for the best part. We get to try the fish. So I'm going to start with the yellowtail, because the yellowtail it's in season, and it's the most delicious time of the year to eat yellowtail. So we'll be trying this, the warasa. The flavor, because it's just freshly caught out of the ocean, the flavor is of course perfect, but more importantly than the flavor, the texture. Just having freshly caught fish like this, that was just caught, the day before, the morning of. The fish was caught locally, it's eaten locally. There's really nothing quite like it. This yellowtail, I've had my share of yellowtail living in Japan for 6 years. But the yellowtail caught from the sea fresh, and the yellowtail here in Tsuruoka City, it's personally my favorite. It's my favorite place to eat seafood in all of Japan. So this is excellent. Okay everyone, so that's going to do it for our tour today, for our catch and cook tour plan. I do hope you enjoyed it. I just want to emphasize that fishing, there's all sorts of different type of fishing we do in Yamagata, and the type of fishing that we did today was just one of many different types, and depending on what type of fishing you do, the program, the entire experience is going to be totally different. I just want to add that I just started fishing about 2 years ago. I've lived in Japan for almost 6 years now, but I just started recently. And after the whole situation, the recent situation happened, I wasn't able to go back home. I really wanted to find something to do where I could go outdoors, where I could learn a new passion, where I could kind of get a more deep experience into the food that I love. And so I've been out fishing almost every single weekend, from spring to fall. For the past 2 years, and I just can't tell you how much fun it is to have a giant fish at the end of your line, to reel up a bunch of different types of fish, to be able to cook it with chefs and enjoy that delicious meal at the finish. Because eating a meal that you caught yourself, it's very hard to describe. I tried to describe it in the video, but I didn't do a good job. But it's very hard to put into words. But when you catch it yourself and when you prepare it yourself, it's different. And please trust me on that. But anyways, if you're interested in trying out any of these programs, we're gonna leave a link in the description below, and feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to learn more about your group and customize a program for you. Again, you don't have to have any experience fishing. We'll provide all the rental gear, the fishing guides, the chefs, the local people will be happy to walk you through everything. Everyone's very, very nice. Even if you drop their fish on the ground, they'll just have a good laugh. But very good people. So the people in Yamagata are very good, and that's why I choose to continue living here. So don't worry about that. Just worry about what type of fish you want to catch. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and please check out our link, and please try to come visit Japan as soon as it reopens. So thank you so much.